Look at the intense gaze in this photograph. In his later years, Russian author Leo Tolstoy wrote a philosophical fable about the friction between rigid human institutions and raw spiritual power. The story begins with a crisis of authority. A high-ranking priest realizes his massive, officially sanctioned church has gone completely quiet. The crowds that once filled the pews have vanished. He soon discovers where his congregation has gone, a remote island across a vast lake, home to 3 uneducated, utterly simple hermits. For the priest, this is intolerable. He represents institutional authority, the keeper of proper rituals and correct texts. He is losing his grip over the people to an unapproved, untidy mysticism. Determined to assert his dominance, he prepares for an investigation. He dresses in his elaborate regalia, crowning his head in gold, and gripping the heavy golden staff that symbolizes his high office. He commissions a boat, cutting across the lake on a mission to re-establish church protocol and correct what he perceives as a spiritual defect. When he finally steps onto the island, the visual contrast is sharp. Standing in his glittering, expensive robes, he looks down to find 3 quiet, weathered old men sitting in the dirt beneath a large tree. These men hold no titles. The church has never validated them. To the priest, their lack of formal religious recognition is an ignorant threat to the natural order of society. The priest immediately begins his interrogation. He demands to know how they practice their faith and asks to see their Bible. The 3 old men lower their heads, admitting they are entirely illiterate. Apologizing for their ignorance, they confess they don't know the official scriptures. Instead, they rely on a simple phrase based on the Holy Trinity. "We are 3, you are 3, have mercy on us." This animated diagram illustrates the divide. The priest's expectation, a complex geometry of dogma. The hermit's reality, 3 simple dots. Watch how this resolves. The dense structure hardens into locked chains, representing rigid rules, while the dots become fluid waves of pure devotion. The priest laughs at their naivete. His worldview is governed by institutional formatting. If a spiritual practice lacks the proper bureaucratic structure, he cannot accept it as valid. Pitying them, he takes it upon himself to fix their ignorance. He spends the day forcing the hermits to memorize the long, mathematically precise official church prayer. The old men struggle. You can see them grasping at the syllables, their previously quiet minds now occupied by the weight of unfamiliar dogma. The hours drag on until the sun finally sets. Exhausted, the hermits finally manage to recite the long prayer perfectly, following the priest's exact phrasing through sheer repetition. Confident he has civilized the wild, the priest boards his boat and departs. He feels a sense of victory, satisfied that he has brought proper institutional order to these lost men. A beat of solemnity. As the priest sails away, the previously silent island is filled with the repetitive drone of memorized syllables. The hermits have their formal prayer, and the priest has his order. Out in the middle of the lake, the boat glides through the night. The priest rests comfortably on the deck, enjoying his restored sense of superiority. Suddenly, the boatmen begin shouting. The priest turns around to witness an unbelievable sight emerging from the pitch-black horizon. The 3 old hermits are sprinting across the surface of the deep water. They are ignoring the laws of physics, gliding over the waves to catch the moving vessel. The material world simply yields. The rigid laws of nature break down when confronted with the force of pure, unfiltered sincerity. They reach the side of the boat, panting and apologetic. They confess they have already forgotten the complex words of his official prayer, and they beg him to teach them the rules one more time. The priest's ego shatters. The heavy golden staff slips from his hands. Trembling in awe and shame, he falls to his knees before them. He tells them to forget every word he taught them. He instructs them to return to their island and keep reciting their own simple phrase, acknowledging their devotion reached its destination, while his own remained anchored in form. This image shows the empty desk and rocking chair where Leo Tolstoy spent his later years. The realization his fictional priest experiences mirrors the philosophy Tolstoy developed in this room at the end of his life. The story suggests that a sincere intent, no matter how unrefined, carries a weight that the most perfect ritual can never replicate.